All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're looking at something that is honestly completely mind-bending. Have you ever felt like the way we traditionally explain reality, particles, space, time, gravity, just isn't quite hitting the absolute bottom of the truth? Like there's a deeper layer we're missing. Well, today we are exploring Dean Kulik's Nexus Recursive Harmonic Framework. It's an exhaustive structural analysis that fundamentally rewrites the physics of our universe. So grab a seat and prepare to have everything you thought you knew about existence completely inverted.
Look, we've all been taught the exact same story, right? The universe started with a Big Bang, and it's just been expanding outward into empty space ever since. But Kulik's framework poses this massive, paradigm-shifting question. What if the universe isn't expanding into new space at all? What if instead it's actually decompiling? What if it's unfolding its own pre-existing source code? I mean, this completely shatters our foundational assumptions about how reality actually operates.
Okay, let's dive into this. On one side, we have the old view, or the linear stack. That's the outdated concept of reality as this passive box holding discrete objects, basically just nouns, particles, and empty space. But Kulik offers a new view, the ontological inversion. Under this new framework, reality is absolutely not a container of objects, it's actually a self-executing computational substrate made entirely of active operations. We're talking about verbs, not nouns.
Which brings us right to Section 1, the ontological inversion.
This concept completely upends the traditional hierarchy, where physics somehow creates chemistry, which creates biology, which creates computation. Instead, reality isn't a static state of being, it's a continuous process of algorithmic becoming. Kulik captures this perfectly. He says, reality is broken completion, executing itself back toward closure. Think about a piece of software like Photoshop. When it's perfectly complete and just sitting there on your hard drive, it isn't running. It has no unresolved state. A perfectly complete universe cannot run either. Our reality only exists because that perfect completion fractured into readable, executable code. Runtime literally requires a break in completion.
So, moving on to Section 2, the cosmic sliding puzzle.
You might be wondering, how does anything actually move if there's no empty space to move into? Well, the universe operates as a completely full mathematical set. If the set is full, change can't happen by an object jumping into a visible empty hole. Instead, motion works through what is defined here as circulating missingness. In a full universal set, motion is the transfer of a gap or a capacity deficit. This gap isn't a literal physical hole, it's a topological asymmetry in the code. It's basically a moving permission slip. Change happens through the continuous transfer of this gap through a completely filled system. To really visualize this at the deep computational layer, think of it like this. A relinquishes, which means B occupies, which means C now lacks. What we traditionally call motion, like an object moving from point A to point B, is actually an illusion of the surface layer. It's just a continuous stream of handoffs and inherited missingness. One state releases, another inherits, the missingness shifts, and the system calls that motion. It's honestly a lot like the frame rate of a lagging video game catching up to itself.
And this totally shatters the classical Newtonian idea of a push. Things don't move because they are pushed. That push is really just the visible residue we see when a local frame collapses into contact. The true driver of reality is the nexus pull. It's the generative pressure of missingness, an unresolved shape demanding to be filled. Things move simply because something is open in the code.
Okay, let's hit Section 3, the big compile.
If the universe isn't expanding, but instead executing code, we have to replace the concept of the Big Bang with the big compile. This marks the actual birth of runtime. The source material maps this out in 3 foundational steps. Step 1 is complete silence, a completed totality with 0 unresolved gradient. Step 2 is the fracture of completion. To become a runtime, the complete set had to break, fracturing into exactly 64 callable fragments, using prime numbers as the load-bearing rails of a universal compile gate. And finally, step 3 is distributed runtime, creating the executable universe we experience today, which is constantly decompiling its prior completion. And this brilliantly illustrates the harmonic alignment constant. Denoted as h, it equals pi divided by 9, which is approximately 0.349. This number is absolutely crucial. It acts as the admissibility gate for the universe. Think of it as a cosmic bouncer that allows feedback loops to persist without just exploding into chaos or freezing up entirely. Everything that exists in our universe found this exact harmonic alignment.
Now, Section 4, reusable software motifs. This brings us to a really fascinating concept called the Sarras isomorphism. It's a cross-domain proof, showing that the identical geometric firmware governs vastly different domains in our universe, actually bridging biology, physics, and cryptography.
See, historically, science has really struggled because it decompiles reality by label. We go around looking for surface nouns like sodium, gravity, or a black hole. But the Nexus framework teaches us to decompile by shape. When you look at the geometric shape of the information, you reveal shared subroutines. You start to realize the universe isn't writing brand new code for every single object, it's using the exact same subroutines over and over again.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it maps out these motifs. Take the ROTR, or transport motif. The exact same computational code that rotates a register in the SHA-256 cryptographic algorithm is the same code that rotates an electron in a physical orbital. The MAJ compaction fold that compresses a bit stream, that's the identical code folding a protein in your body right now. Even the persist state subroutine is the same whether you're clicking save in Microsoft Word or a biological cell is retaining memory. It is literally all the same program, just running at different levels of compression.
To prove just how powerful this is, consider this mind-boggling ratio, 40,000 to 1. In a biological cell, DNA acts as a highly compressed frequency table. The cellular machinery violently compacts 40 million bits of active genetic data into exactly 896 bits of operative physical reality. That is a staggering 40,000 to 1 compression ratio. It absolutely proves that deterministic data compaction exists right at the foundation of biology.
And that brings us to Section 5, a finished program revealed.
This is the grand resolution of our explainer. The universe is not some chaotic explosion of random matter. It functions as a universal read-only memory, or ROM. The blueprint for every possible configuration of matter and energy was completely finished before it even began. In this framework, scientific discovery is not inventing something new. Discovery is simply recognition. Fragments of code recombined through entangled lineages. We're using what Kulik calls the glass key to decompile and navigate the base classes of existence. We are literally just reading the precompiled constants that the universe is continually rendering out for us.
So the crucial point is this. The universe is not becoming more, it is revealing what it already is. It isn't expanding into novelty, it's decompiling completion into callable fragments. And that decompile is running right now, all around us and within us.
I'll leave you with this question to ponder. What piece of the universe's source code will we decompile next? Now that we have the glass key and we truly understand the ontological inversion, we aren't just looking at random mysteries anymore. We are reading the source code of reality itself. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the code around you.